Welcome friends, my name is C. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a princess dress cake. Now this video is going to be a little bit different. As you can see here, I've already got all of my cakes baked and I'm moving on to putting them onto the board. The first cake I'm putting down is a 9x9 vanilla cake that I've dyed purple. It's going to get a generous drizzle of vanilla simple syrup, and then I'm going to go ahead and crumb coat the whole thing before I stack on the other cakes. The reason I'm crumb coating this cake first is because it's going to be a lot easier to get those square edges without a whole bunch of other cake sitting on top. The edges aren't going to be completely smooth, but that's because of the piping technique that I'm going to use to decorate the cake much later. Our next cake is an 8-inch round strawberry cake that I'm going to be soaking with a mixture of water and strawberry jam. These next few layers of cake are going to be getting a strawberry filling, so I'm taking some strawberry buttercream and slowly making a dam around the outside of the cake to hold all of the filling in. If you aren't yet confident with your cake spackling skills, then you can go ahead and use a piping bag for this step. Time for filling. This is a mixture of freshly sliced strawberries, strawberry jam, and just a little bit of water. Now we're going to encase that filling in with just a little bit more strawberry buttercream on top. Now on goes the next cake. This is a 6-inch round strawberry cake. It's going to get the same treatment as our 8-inch round strawberry cake, with a little drizzle of that strawberry syrup, some strawberry buttercream as a border, some strawberry filling, and then more strawberry buttercream on top. Did y'all enjoy the holiday season this year? Let me know in the comments below. My holiday season ended up being pretty frantic, which is why this video is going up much later than expected. I actually filmed all of this on the 14th of December. On goes another 6-inch round strawberry cake. It's going to get the same treatment as the last two layers. Last but not least, our final 6-inch strawberry cake. Next, we're going to crumb coat all of our strawberry cakes. I found the best way to do this was to start by blopping a whole bunch of buttercream on top and working it all the way down the sides. This process tends to get messy on such a strangely shaped cake. Once you're done, pop that bad boy in the fridge to set a little. Now you're going to take your doll of choosing and pin all of her hair up on top of her head. This keeps it from getting in the buttercream during the decorating process. I've chosen to wrap my doll's lower half with saran wrap for food safety purposes. If you prefer to eat plastic, you can skip this step. For real though, don't eat plastic. Now comes the all-important step of inserting the doll into the cake. Here I'm just taking a long serrated knife and cutting an opening for her to fit into. You don't want to cut too far down because essentially the doll's legs are going to be your support structure for this cake. This little wedge is a sneaky eat for later. Now just take your doll and slowly work her legs into the cake. You don't want to push too hard because then your cake might split. Excellent. The doll cake hybrid is complete, all according to Keikaku. Ha 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 ha. Now it's time to actually start carving the dress. I found that the best way to do this is to cut out some wedges at the top of the skirt and then slowly taper them off towards the bottom. But you can carve your dress however you'd like. I'm going for the traditional ball gown look. More sneaky eats to save for later. Now I'm rounding off the top portion of the skirt. As I carve down the side of the cake, I pull my knife off at an angle. That way, it looks like the skirt is in motion. It's best to start out with shallower cuts and then make them deeper the more that you work with them. Remember, you can always cut more cake off, but once it's cut off, you can't put it back on. Give your cake a once over, and if you're happy with the result, then we can go ahead and add more buttercream. Here I've got some vanilla buttercream that I've dyed purple and put into a piping bag. I'm going around the outside of my cake and filling all the places that I've carved with this purple buttercream. For these areas, it would be much too difficult to try and fill them with a traditional offset spatula. I also piped what was left in the bag on the top of the skirt. Now put on a pair of plastic disposable gloves and get ready for the next step. I'm going to smooth the buttercream that we piped into all of the little nooks and crannies. That way, no pink cake shows through. Now cover the rest of the cake with more purple buttercream. If you don't have disposable gloves, then don't use your bare hands on this cake. It's best to try and find a smaller, food-safe tool that you can use instead. Now I'm just smoothing down the bulk of the buttercream with an offset spatula. Next, I'm going to use some of these paint tools to smooth the buttercream. I bought these specifically for cake decorating, so they've never been used for paint. The ones with rounded edges work best, but you can use the different edges for all sorts of different projects. Do your best to get the buttercream as smooth as you can. Now I'm taking a cold, wet paper towel and pressing it against the buttercream. This presses down all of the rough edges and ensures that your finish looks smoother. You can also use the wet paper towel to sculpt some of the cake if you happen to have too many rough edges in one place. It's especially efficient at removing extra buttercream. Next, I've equipped a bag with a petal tip and some pink buttercream. I'm using it to pipe ruffles all the way around the top portion of the skirt. Now it's time to pipe on her bodice. I'm using the smallest round tip that I could find, a piping bag, and some purple buttercream. This step gets a little tedious after a while, but the end result is definitely worth it. It's okay if the bottom portion isn't as neat as you would like, because later we're going to be piping on a belt. To finish the top portion, I ended up angling my tip towards the center. This gives it a more finished look once you're done. Now I'm adding on the purple necklace that came with the doll originally. It matches the crown on her head so well that I would have felt bad leaving it off. Though it kind of blends into the bodice a little bit, doesn't it? Now for the belt. I started piping at the very back of the Barbie and worked my way all the way around. This makes it so that you can't see the seam from the front. Now I'm piping on a big purple bow. Next, I'm going to spray on a silver gradient around the bottom of the cake. Normally I would use my airbrush to do this, but the nozzle is broken. This edible color mist works just as well, though the colors they have are limited. Now I'm going to pipe little shells around the bottom of the cake with a round tip. These little pink shells are so delicate. I think that they're the perfect way to finish off this cake. Lastly, I'm using some star tips to pipe on some wisteria flowers. I'm using the dark purple buttercream from the belt and the light purple buttercream from the skirt and the bodice. This makes the cake overall more cohesive. A few green leaves and one photo shoot later and this cake is done. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye!
What? What is it, kidney? Woof! Woof! Say woof! Woof! Buff! Buff! Bork! Bark, bork, bork! Woof! 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 Oh my god, woof! Oh my god, woof! Woof! Bark! Bark, bark, bork, bork! In you go, bitch. In you go. Get in the cake. There we go. Yay! She has become one with the cake.